All right, let's go to. We covered all the trenches. Let's look at the secondary and some wide receivers. Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner. Name him Sauce. Just go by Sauce, baby. Over under 7.5, under -150, over +120. So Wilson, we're kind of getting to the point where like there's a lot of guys who this is like there's more than 7 guys who are sort of fitting with these top 7 picks, right? I mean, so we have Icky, Aiden Hutchinson, Trevon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, Charles Cross, and Sauce Gardner. I believe that is
7.
That's 7 guys. Is that the top 7 in the draft?
What are the Panthers going to do?
Yeah.
So that's a quarterback situation there. Could a wide receiver sneak into the top 7? I don't think so. But I mean, it could be a situation where the Packers or the Chiefs trade up for one of these wide receivers. And they may feel maybe they have to come up this high to leapfrog the Falcons, who very easily could be in the wide receiver conversation because they have their best wide receiver is tight end Kyle Pitts right now. So that's the other consideration. Sauce Gardner 7.5. I am lukewarm to the under, but I don't love it just because you're squeezed. Like the bodies are getting close on the musical chair situation.
If a quarterback sneaks in there, it's really tough.
It's a wrap.
Or it's like maybe the guy who gets pushed out is Charles Cross. If a quarterback goes in there, because that's
probably only if the Panthers are the one the teams that trades down to allows the team to get a quarterback.
Well, no, I'm thinking if the Panthers take Kenny Pickett at 6 instead of an offensive lineman, Cross is probably the guy who gets squeezed out. Because you have the Jets, Giants, and Texans all have a left tackle in place in theory.
Cross went top 5 in our 3-man mock draft. I'm releasing all the spoilers here.
I would lean towards the under on Sauce Gardner, but this was 8.5 or even like 10.5 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm staying away from this one. I'm still stuck on Charles Cross, loving, and Evan Neal liking. Unders on both.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I think I would take the under here if I had to bet something, but this has gotten a little snug for me. Derek Stingley, the other top cornerback, his over under was like 14.5 maybe because the Vikings were a perceived landing spot. It is now under 10.5, meaning he's taken the top 10 picks, -150, over +120. The way I see, I was texting with Prisco about this, and I said, or Pete, and I guess it was me and Costas and Prisco were texting about, I don't know where Jamie is. I said 4 edge rushers, 3 offensive linemen, 2 cornerbacks, and 1 wide receiver. I think that's your top 10. And Pete said it should be. He said Johnson's a little overrated. 2 quarterbacks could go. People around the league think that there will be 2 quarterbacks in the top 10. So again, that's sort of the wrench here in the discussion. Like,
he keeps saying that. I know some people that don't think any quarterback's going to the top 10.
Right. I mean, it boils down to, do the Panthers panic and take Kenny Pickett at 6?
I don't think they do.
And do the Seahawks or Falcons reach for Malik Willis?
That's 1 quarterback. I mean, I don't. 2 could go for sure, but that would not be great. And actually, we looked back at the 2013 draft, and there was only really 1 quarterback in the mix until you guys got talked into Ryan Nassib in the last 2 weeks of the season.
Unbelievable.
But prior to that, it was Geno Smith. There was no EJ Manuel talk.
Stingley, the problem is like Stingley at 10.5, -150. It's just like you're just getting the absolute worst of the number if you bet Stingley now.
Yep. Because he's been making a lot of appearances at 11 with Washington, which is where I had him going, in at 12 with Minnesota. So is he going to go before that? And by the way, his pro day feels a lot like, to me, what happened with Jamar Chase. Yeah. Jamar Chase didn't play in 2020, he opted out, and then came to his pro day, ran in the 4.3s, and everyone's like, oh, this guy's still good. I think that's the same thing with Stingley.
I got some Stingley under 12.5 a few weeks ago. The Vikings are at 12. It just feels like it would be kind of a surprise if Stingley made it past the Vikings at 12, given
that would be it. I think that would be surprising.
Yeah.
And also don't forget, last year, JC Horn, leapfrog Patrick Surtain, they both went 8, 9, 9, 10. They went back to back earlier than I think we had.
It was 8, 9. Yeah.
consider
Horn went 8, and then I think that's right.
Yep. Horn went
Because
first.
then the Cowboys traded out of 10 with the Eagles, who took Devontae Smith ahead of the Giants, who had traded back.
And the Cowboys still got Micah Parsons.
And then the Cowboys got Micah Parsons, right?
Ooh.
I think I heard Daniel Jeremiah say there was like 9 non-quarterbacks who would go from last year's class who would go first overall in this class.
Mm.
And I, and I could be, I'm sort of paraphrasing there. I listened to the Move the Six pod, but you look at the list, like, is JC Horn the first overall pick in this class? Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
But he's definitely top 5.
Yes.
Stingley, under 10.5 minus 150. It's just too, like,
that's a bad number.
Exactly. I just don't think you can bet that now. I don't know that I would lean towards I don't know that I would even bet the over, though. I know it's plus money, but you need to dodge. Like, if Sauce goes in the top 7, do one of the Falcons, Seahawks, or Jets take Stingley?
Seahawks need cornerbacks. I mean, they need everything.
And Stingley's, has massive upside. So, I mean, I think, again, like, it comes down to, like, what do the Jets do at 4, and what do the Panthers do at 6? Because if the Jets go, let's say the Jets go Sauce Gardner at 4, then Stingley's going top 10 more than likely.
Feels like it. I mean, there's just so many.
Excuse me. If the Jets go Thibodeau at 4, then I think they probably come back at 10 and take Stingley.
Where's Sauce?
Well, I think Sauce goes to the
in between there.
Yeah, the Giants,
or
the Falcons, or the Seahawks.
So Thibodeau at 4, and then circle back at 10. I think wide receiver is also in the conversation.
For sure.
So I mean, if there's a Garrett Wilson there, there's a Drake London there, you might think about that. So I don't know. Like, this number is terrible. I'd like the over because it's plus money.
I think it's a stay away at this point. All right, let's look at Andrew Booth. Over under 26.5. We finally got some non, like, something outside who's going to be the first overall pick, and like over unders for the big guys.
So I'll tell you, I love Andrew Booth. Like, I like him a lot.
His over under, by the way, for podcast listeners, 26.5, minus 115 on both sides.
I think he's a top 20 player. I usually have him going around the Patriots, sometimes dropping a little bit to the Bills, but I think the over is in play only because he's had some injuries he's had to deal with, and that may push him down a little bit. That's the only reason. So just an injury history, nothing long-term, but teams may move him down a little bit and be focused on others. So I like the over of 26.5. Although that, I wish that number.
You have him going 21st to the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the injury stuff. But I know teams are concerned about the injury stuff. Okay. I wish this was more like a 22.5 or 21.5, but 26.5. I'll still lean over because he could fall out of the first round.
Yeah, that's possible. Is he the number 3 corner?
Trent Mcduffie is.
Oh, yeah.
He's my number 3. Some people like him number 2 ahead of Stingley.
Wow.
Fair enough. But Booth is usually around 4 or 5 for people. I like him 4.
Okay. Trent McDuffie, over under 17.5, the under minus 130, the over plus even money. And the team at 17 is the Chargers. Ahead of them, the Saints, Eagles, Ravens, Texans, Vikings, Commandos.
So I sort of like the under here.
Yeah. Those teams feel like they could certainly draft a cornerback. I mean, look, the Sauce, Stingley, and McDuffie over-unders are probably correlated.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, if Sauce goes over 7.5, Stingley's probably going over 10.5. And if that happens, then McDuffie's probably going over 17.5.
Well, the only thing is there might be a run on corners if people start to get nervous. So then you got to figure out.
I wouldn't want to bet Stingley over 10.5, McDuffie under 17.5.
So over 10.5 will get you the Vikings at 12, and then at 13 the Texans could take McDuffie.
Sure, that's true. That's fair.
So let's see who else we have. You have Houston. I don't think the Ravens. I think the Ravens would rather have offensive line or edge help. The Eagles could certainly be a consideration at 15. And again at 8.
Maybe right.
Oh, 18 to get them over. So and then the Saints at 16. The Saints aren't. God, if they get corner, that'd be hysterical. And then the Chargers probably would rather have defensive or offensive line help. So you have a couple options there. You'll be sweating. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Oh, Dominic actually floated an interesting theory. What if the Jets went cornerback, Sauce and Stingley at 4?
Hey, 2006, we were talking about it. They went offensive line, the Brickashaw and Mangold.
Maybe so. I think they'll go pass rusher there. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the McDuffie not as correlated. Garrett Wilson